5-year NFL veteran, played college football at East Carolina and Virginia. And this man knows the quarterback position well and does a great job communicating the finer details of that position. And Kurt's on with us right now. Kurt, appreciate you hopping on, man. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Excited to be here. How you guys doing today?
Doing great, man. Let's get into some quarterback play. I want to talk a little bit of NFL and maybe a couple high-level college guys as well. Mm-hmm. But let's start with Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers, because we've clearly seen a difference post-Achilles injury as he's getting up there in years with his play style and everything else. But I'm watching that second half against Baltimore on Sunday night, and Kurt, there's still some of those throws you see that's reminiscent of the best of Aaron Rodgers, and we saw some of that in that second half. What did you make of that performance?
Man, I loved it. It was obviously a gutsy performance, had to really dial it up, deal it in there, and he did a lot of the line of scrimmage in the second half. And it really started with that 2-minute drill leading into halftime. It was incredible how they navigated and operated. I know they left some points on the board, but that kind of got the momentum going. And he was able to get it done with his feet, too. That big third down run that he had showed that he did have a little bit of juice left in the Achilles. I know he got ran down on the few before that, but at the end was pretty fast, too. So I think we're going to see Aaron Rodgers just letting it rip in the playoffs. Wouldn't be shocked to see him run a little bit more, especially on the up-and-out scrambles. But if their defense can catch a little bit of fire, I think they're a really weird matchup for people, especially with how they run the ball and use their 2 running back system.
The flip side of that game, Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens, we now know John Harbaugh is on his way out. When you see Lamar Jackson, some of the injury issues, but just his performance this year also, do you see anything that would make you pause or hesitate about making him maybe one of the key guys in determining who the next head coach is of the Baltimore Ravens? Because, as you know, Kurt, there's been a lot of talk about his happiness with Harbaugh, with the organization, and sort of vice versa. What do you think about his level of play right now and the status with the Ravens?
I think that they need to build around him, and I think he's playing at a pretty high level. And even though he's made a few mistakes here and there, we've seen the best of the best make the mistakes. But I don't think he's consistently had the team around him to make the plays that are needed. Even in that other game the other night, how many passes did he have that were either dropped right in the bucket and dropped, or missed opportunities from guys doing the wrong things, making mistakes, false starts, just random stuff. And I think that's been the Ravens' lack of discipline over the past few years. Not to mention, he doesn't have a Jamar Chase or T. Higgins like Joe Burrow has had his whole career, or most of his career. He doesn't have Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua. I don't believe that Lamar Jackson has ever been put into a position that a lot of other elite guys are in. And I think Josh Allen is in a similar spot where he doesn't necessarily have the guys that some of these other premier dudes have. And they've got to, they got to make up for it with their feet and how they navigate the game. But I would really love for the Ravens to bring in an offensive-minded head coach that is going to fit the offense to what Lamar does best. And I don't think it is a Monken, power 12, 13, 14, or 13, 12 personnel offense. I think it's spread it out, give him space, and let him get the ball out of his hands quick with an occasional design runs. But I just think they're not using him, or they have not been using him how they could have the past few years to get the most out of him.
So going into these playoffs, is there a guy that you're most interested in watching? It may be a newcomer, maybe someone that you want to see their development. Like the guy that jumps to mind for me is Caleb Williams with the Bears. Yeah. I want to see his performance now in year 2 in his first playoff game. Is there a guy that jumps off the page to you that says, I want to watch this guy play quarterback in the postseason?
Yeah, to me, it's Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence has been the guy that we know has the ceiling that can do it all, and he's played really well down this stretch. And I think Liam Cohen has unlocked a lot of the college ball to get out of his game. And we've seen a lot of times where Trevor will just do weird things. He'll run out of bounds and take a sack instead of throwing the ball away. He'll, let the clock run when he doesn't need to, or force something that they could have had points on the board. That's been his kind of knack against him the past few years. And it seems to me like Liam Cohen has allowed him to develop into a good decision maker. He's playing in rhythm with the play. He's getting the ball out quick and accurately. And when that second play starts and the scramble starts, he's making better decisions. And I'm really excited to see what does this look like when he faces some of these defenses that are going to give him a run for his money. Obviously, he's played the Texans twice a year. That is a tough battle every single time, but higher stakes, win or go home. I want to see what Trevor Lawrence does, because I could see them making it to the Super Bowl and winning it. I think they have the roster to do it. I think in a down year for the AFC, this is their chance to take advantage of it. And it's going to be on them to show up and do it.
A couple of young quarterbacks I want to ask you about. Let's start with Shedeur Sanders in Cleveland. Yeah. And anything that surprised you based on what you saw in college with his performance in NFL, or was it pretty much what you expected after he got his chance later in the season?
I would say it shocked me that he was able to find any success at all with the Browns and what their situation looked like. I mean, there haven't been any quarterbacks in the league in the past few years that have had success with them. Even Joe Flacco did not look like the Bengals version of the Joe Flacco when he was with the Browns. And so I think anything that Shedeur has done positively needs to be, heightened up a little bit, and any of the negatives need to be kind of ignored for right now. And I think coaches coming in, again, they got Deshaun Watson coming back allegedly. We don't know what's going to go in there, but I think you've got to judge Shedeur a little bit more on the positives that he was able to produce while the starter of the Browns than the negatives. Because I do think he's a guy that in the future is he going to be with the Browns forever? Probably not. But I could see him going on a Sam Darnold type of path where he bounces around a little bit, operates in a system, and he's made big time throws in these games. He obviously went toe to toe with two of the better quarterbacks in the league and beat both the teams that those guys are respectively on. But I saw enough out of Shedeur that warrants he's going to be in the league for a decent bit of time. We don't know if he's going to be a starter long term, but he can operate. And if you sent him somewhere, like the Lions, for instance, and he was to back up Jared Goff, and Jared Goff were to miss a game or two, I think Shedeur would go in and do pretty well with those weapons on offense. So I think he's a guy that needs things around him to go a little bit better than maybe a Josh Allen or Lamar or maybe a Drake May that can do more with their feet. But he made some big time throws, and it was in the cold, really, windy and whatnot in Cleveland. That's not easy to do. So I think he checked a lot of boxes for coaches and GMs.
Yeah, the weather off Lake Erie doesn't give you a lot of breaks, certainly as a quarterback either. Not a lot of breaks for Cam Ward in year one with the Titans with that roster. He was a guy, though, that, his numbers prove it. He was improving late in the year, and then he gets hurt with the AC joint injury on the first drive against Jacksonville in the season finale. Overall, year one, Cam Ward, what were your thoughts?
I loved it. I think that he was resilient. I think that he is going to be a stud in this league as long as they get the right help. You look at it now across the league, no matter how good your quarterback is, if your coach sucks, it doesn't matter at this point. And you
if
can't
your
outplay
receivers
bad
suck
coaching.
and your offensive line sucks and everything else that went on
they
with
need
the Titans
help.
here in town. Yeah.
They need help. And it's one of those things that if, for whatever reason, 2, 3, 4 years go by with Cam Ward and he doesn't get them to the playoffs or whatever and he gets moved on from, he'll go somewhere else and he'll have an incredible career. And we'll clip that for another time. But I saw everything I needed to see out of him. He can make every throw on the field. He's comfortable in the pocket. He can scramble. He can make plays. Pretty good decision maker. He didn't turn the ball over a whole lot with the craziness that he had to deal with and being down in most games where you typically are going to be more risky with the football. So if you take him out of that situation and go throw him in San Francisco with Kyle Shanahan, we might be talking about rookie of the year, if not more than that, with the type of talent that he has. So I think I've got a lot of grace that I think people need to give to Cam Ward for what he went through this year, and he showed that he can do it.
Hey, if you like the channel, become a season ticket holder for Hot Mic by clicking the subscribe button below and join the conversation in the comments section. Agree, disagree, we'll join you there in the chat. Now back to Hot Mic.
This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Whether you're starting a new routine or making player picks for the first time, trying something new can be hard, but in life and on Prize Picks, it's always feeling good to be right with high-pressure playoff matchups every weekend and elite hoops action almost every night. The action never stops, and Prize Picks lets you take control. Find your community on Prize Picks. With the new social feeds feature, you can share Prize Picks with your friends and copy lineups from winners with a single click. Copy lineups you like or use them as inspiration for your own picks. You can even follow Prize Picks partners like us and tail or fade our picks. Probably fading mine, honestly, with just one click. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code HOTMIC to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code HOTMIC to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Let's all win, shall we? Jonathan Hutton's got his picks for the weekend lined up and ready to go, and they are as follows. Caleb Williams to get at least one passing touchdown. Brenton Strange for the Jags to have a decent day in their playoff game against Buffalo, and Will Anderson to register at least a half a sack for the Houston Texans. You might want to fade me. You might not. I'm feeling lucky. I'm feeling like I'm going to win this week. My picks are as follow. Josh Allen, going to have a big day. Buffalo better than Jacksonville. They're going on the road and beating the hell out of Jacksonville this week. Josh Allen's going to have a big say in that. Christian McCaffrey, he's going to score a touchdown in the 49ers game. And C.J. Stroud will throw for a touchdown in his game as well. May we all win, and anytime you're playing and having fun with Prize Picks, you're already a winner. So some of the news of the day, Ty Simpson is going to enter the NFL draft. Not a huge surprise there. A lot of draft boards have him maybe the third best quarterback in this upcoming draft. What do you think of Ty Simpson, NFL prospect?
Yeah, he kind of reminds me of J.J. McCarthy a little bit, where maybe he's not the best at everything, but he does show up, and he's been able to make plays in critical downs, third downs, and he's not afraid to get hit, obviously. I don't love him necessarily as like a guy to lead a franchise right now. I think he's going to be a guy that needs to be developed. And to be honest, this quarterback draft class, I'm going to dive into it a little bit more as we get through the draft cycle and playoffs. But from what I know right now, I don't love this draft class. I don't think it is like the last few that we've had. I think I would lend this draft class to be a little bit more like, I'm not going to say it's as bad as the Kenny Pickett draft class, but I would be a little bit more weary. And especially with all the coaches moving around and guys getting fired and long tenured guys, I think teams are going to be a little bit more hesitant to getting a young player that's not proven to go lead their franchise, while there's going to be a big kind of swirling pot of free agent quarterbacks over the next few years. I think we're going to lean a little bit more in that direction until we get some crazy talent to come out. But all that to say, I think that Ty Simpson can obviously play football, and I think he's coming out in this draft because this is a favorable quarterback draft class to be a part of. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, and one other guy I wanted to ask you about is Fernando Mendoza, the Heisman Trophy winner. You're saying you're not big on this quarterback draft class right now. I know you're going to break it down on your YouTube page as well, but just first impressions with what you've seen of Fernando Mendoza. What do you think about him as a possible franchise quarterback for the Raiders or for someone out there?
Yeah, I love the kid. I think he's awesome. I think he's got a lot of talent as a passer. I think that the Raiders need a little bit more help than he can provide, to be honest. I think someone like Kyler Murray might even give them a better chance in the athleticism spot. And you got to think of who he's going to be playing. What's the roster around him look like? The Raiders need a more athletic quarterback to be able to survive the AFC West. And I just think that is what it is right now. I would love Mendoza for me is more of a scheme fit guy. Like I'd love to see him end up backing up Stafford in LA, get a few years, get into McVay's system where you have guys that you can distribute around. But if you went and tossed a Stafford in with the Raiders right now, I don't think the Raiders win more than 6-7 games, to be honest. And so I don't think Mendoza is the type of player that can alleviate some of the lack of talent across the board. Whereas in a year past, I think Jaden Daniels did that for the Commanders while he was healthy. He kind of got them over the hump of not having as much talent. So I think for Mendoza, being the number 1 overall pick is great and all, but I don't think he wants that for the longevity of his career to go to the Raiders. I think it'd be best for him to go somewhere that he can maybe fit in where he gets in, and maybe he's, supplanting a guy that has been there for a while, like a Goff or a Stafford or somewhere with a little bit more of an established scheme and some players around. That's kind of my take on it.
Kurt Benkert is the founder of the Dime Lab. He's got some great content. Kurt, tell everyone where they can find you on YouTube. I know I was watching some of your videos this morning, very insightful about quarterback play. So tell everyone where they can find you.
Yeah, you can just at Kurt Benkert, just as it is on the screen. Everywhere, it's my first and last name. Anywhere you need to get me. I do a lot of teaching, like you said, on YouTube, on Instagram. Sometimes it's film, sometimes it's teaching through Madden. We try to keep it fresh and light.
I noticed the Madden part of it too, which really brought me back. Haven't played in a while, but it really brought me back. Kurt, thanks so much, man. Appreciate the time.
Yes, thanks for having me. Have a good one.
Absolutely. Kurt Benkert has been our guest.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to OutKick Hot Mic.
Daily content and more at OutKick Hot Mic on YouTube.